Welcome back to another episode of the Glory Reds podcast. And today I'm joined in the studio with my boy, Benito. What's happening, my guy?
What's going on, D? What's going on, my guy?
Yeah, man, all is well. It's finally here. The weekend has arrived. We're about to kickstart off this Premier League after this international break. Of course, heading into this weekend fixture, we're going to be facing Sheffield United that haven't been in the Premier League since the 2020-21 season. I'm looking forward to it, man, because I'm looking forward to this game, to be
Hey,
honest.
bro, I am excited, but every time the Premier League weekend comes back, it's almost like I'm coming out of a coma or something, like
Yeah,
like a new breath of like life. Things make sense, the water tastes sweeter. The air is everything is just clicks when
yeah,
Prem is
yeah,
is inbound. I'm just excited, man. I'm just excited.
yeah, I hear you, man. But before we get into this match preview, let's talk a little bit about Sancho because I think this is something that needs to be addressed. We spoke about it earlier before jumping on to this recording, and man, I think I'm still gonna stand my ground.
Mm,
Um, I think it has gone too far. There's so much negativity around this subject.
yeah.
It's now dragged on for I don't know how long it is now. It's so funny because the first time it broke out was before the first international break, and
Yeah.
now when like there's a re-up of it, it's again during the second international break, and it's almost like these journalists are just bored and they've got nothing to talk about. But at the same time, I feel like United are also fueling them with ammunition to come at us,
Yeah.
right? And like I said, I feel that look, man, I get it. He needs to apologize for his own sake, but at the end of the day, if the player is standing his ground and he doesn't want to apologize, then leave it as it is. That's his own fault. That's his own problem. I feel we don't need to get invested in that. If
Yeah.
he's a grown man, if he doesn't want to come through and apologize, that's his beef. I'm not gonna keep knocking on his door saying, "Yo, bro, you need to go in." No, no, no. If he can't figure that thing out for himself, it's pointless. Because at the end of the day, you don't want an empty apology.
Yeah. Yeah.
The player doesn't mean it. He's just doing it just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
If he
Yeah.
feels hard done by and he doesn't want to apologize, leave him. Let's move on. Does it suck? Yes. Would I like Sancho to apologize? Yes. Would I like him back in the team? Yes. But at the end of the day, it's his decisions that are gonna ultimately, paint whatever lies ahead of him. We can only give advice. We can't force it. The saying goes, take a horse to the river. You can't force it to drink the water. So yeah, man. My thoughts. What are your thoughts on it, man?
Man, I might just go a little bit on Jadon Sancho here. So please forgive me, those that support Jadon Sancho. But like you said, we had this conversation just before we came on, and you said that it is dragged on for too long. And you're 100% correct. It has. But one thing that we need to remember is that Jadon Sancho is an employee of Manchester United. He is contracted with the club. He's being paid over 300K a week, and with everything that has happened, because now we're at the point where now everything that has transpired from the moment he arrived at Manchester United right up until now has to be taken into consideration. So you will take it back now, him coming in, obviously not having a very good start under Ole, and then um, Ten Hag comes in, and then he has that period, that moment where he was just not with the club, and the manager found ways to try and help him deal with whatever issues they were. It is still not clear whether those were mental issues or personal issues. We still do not know, but he gave him an opportunity to go and gather his thoughts, get himself back together. This is a manager getting his like doing things out of his way to try and I don't know, I guess bubble wrap him or try and protect him or try and help him in whatever way. You'd expect that from a lot of managers. Some managers don't actually care. If you come there and you have got your issues. The guy wants you to perform footballly. He wants your football credentials. He's not really bothered that you've got issues at home or whatever. He just wants you to perform. Some managers are like that. And if they do notice that, they'll just sideline you and, But with Jadon Sancho, everything was done to try and make his stay at United more comfortable. And for some reason, it almost feels like it's weird. It kind of feels like he doesn't appreciate he's forgotten all about that. And then obviously the whole bombshell with him coming out and saying his Twitter thing, saying that he's a scapegoat, all that thing. And that message right there is the one thing that just took off, because the manager was asked, he responded, and the player responded in a very harsh way, which was wrong. And then it just dragged on and dragged on and dragged on. We're at a point now where people are begging Jadon Sancho to apologize just so that there can be some sort of rhythm or calm in the club. But he refuses. The only thing that can really make peace at United right now between Jadon Sancho and the club is him apologizing. And believe it or not, Jadon Sancho owes the manager an apology, regardless of what the manager said. The manager said what he said, and if you challenge that, then that is a problem. I don't like to referred to Sir Alex Ferguson, but he mentioned something. And again, we're in a new football world, but then there's this familiarity with a lot of managers. If there's one player that is just going to sour the squad, they will try by all means to try and get rid of him. We've reached a point that, I mean, like I mentioned to you also before we jumped on, if there was an option to terminate Jadon Sancho or to fire him, and not have repercussions and not have to pay him compensation and all that jazz that comes with terminating contracts and sacking players, I think Manchester United would have done that already by now, because he refuses to apologize. It's a simple thing. I think it's almost a thing of more what is it for formality. You've made a mistake. Everybody around you is trying to tell you that, listen, dog, the only way we can try and calm things down is if you just apologize. What's wrong with saying I'm sorry? He doesn't need to come out to the public. No, he has to go to the manager personally, sort the thing out with the manager personally. Obviously, the news that he's back with the players and what everybody will put two and two together and say, no, there's some peace. These guys they've kissed and made up. But he's still saying no. So we're at a point that, if he's not going to fall in line, we need to keep on making the pressure, keep on putting the pressure. Unfortunately, Sancho is going to be an example, because there are a lot of players in the past who have also kind of scapegoated this kind of thing. And when I say that, obviously theirs was not publicized. It wasn't as big as this. But then we've had players who are not training, turning up for training, coming late, and all that other nonsense that these players were accustomed to do. The new sheriff in town has come in, has set up some rules and regulations that these players need to follow. And if you don't, hard days. You just don't. It's as simple as that. There is no gray area. There is no nothing. It's either you fall in line or you don't. And Sancho refuses to fall in line. So whatever, he has to accept the consequences, whatever it is that's going to keep being thrown at him. Whether he's not allowed to even go and watch the under 18s, because I've seen that's what he's doing now. Those youngsters are his homies. He's going there watching the under 23s and stuff like that. That's where if he's not going to fall in line, he's behaving very childishly. And when you think about it, how is this going to reflect on him as a player? Man, believe it or not, we love Sancho. Like, we don't like the situation that he is in right now, because we know the kind of player that he is capable of, the potential that he has, because, he's Sancho. But other than that, and other than what he has done in Dortmund and him coming here to United, he stay here. His reaction and his resolve and standing on his ground and refusing to fall in line, has got no backing, has got no leverage. It has got nothing. It's just him in floating in the air and trying to say, "Yeah, I'm sticking by myself." Hey. I think maybe I'm not saying that's what he's doing, but it might reach a point where there's a woke movement in the football society where players now are like, nah, these players are throwing me under the bus. This manager is doing this, or maybe that's the way. Maybe he's trying to make other players realize that no, you don't need to take shit from managers. Like if these guys throw you under the bus, you need to push back. Maybe I'm not saying that that's what he's doing, but man, you're contracted with Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world on paper, not in terms of footballing performances, on paper, rich history, everything, alles, and you want to come here and mess about. Are you joking? People like Eric Cantona, David Beckham, Cristiano Ronaldo, say Bobby, say Alex Ferguson, all these greats and legends that have come through this club have fallen in line. Yes, they've had their moments, but everybody has fallen in line. What's special about Sancho, who has done fuck all for the club? I can't even say has he reached double digits in all competitions in goals and assists his entire time at United? Now, I know that's being harsh, but I'm trying to make a point here. You know what I mean? He has got no leverage. I don't know what happened to being humble. Like that thing of the manager was supposed to trigger a hunger, was supposed to trigger something deep inside of him and say, nah, this coach is taking a piss. Is he really say that? I'm going to show him what's up. I'm going to prove him that, nah, what you said, you need to take it back. The manager will have to apologize publicly for saying what he said to me based on my performance. I will demand it. Maybe not publicly, but then personally and behind closed doors, he needs to apologize and tell me that, yo, I take it back. But he refuses. So with that D, Sancho, whatever that's coming his way, he has brought it upon himself. And he needs to take it like a man. He's behaving like a child, honestly. But what he's doing is adult stuff. So he needs to take the punch that's coming at him like a man. Unfortunately, this is where we are at. And I'm at the point where I just want him gone. I want Sancho gone. And I know that is very controversial and hard to say, but I want him gone. I don't like the negativity that's surrounding him and the club and the squad.
All right. Yeah, man, I agree with you, and I share your same sentiment in terms of I want him out the club because I think he's like to your point, just attracting so much negativity, so much bad media around the club at this moment that we do not need.
Yeah,
But there's actually quite a lot of stuff that you said as well that I'm not really,
agreeing
on
with.
board. I'm not
Okay,
agreeing with.
I get
But
you.
I think that's something that we can tackle some other time. We can maybe even um have a
We,
very short segment where
yeah,
we can dissect it, but this is
yeah,
not the episode for it. So
yeah,
we've said our piece on it, and that's something that we can jump to later on. But
yeah.
anyway, moving on. Now that the Sancho thing is cleared, um right now, uh, or this weekend, we're going to be facing Sheffield United. And as I mentioned before, Sheffield United have not been in the Premier League since the 2020-2021 season, where they ultimately lost to Fulham 3-1 and they got knocked out of the Premier League. Dan kaput.
Mm.
And now they found their way back inside the Premier League and they
How? I
haven't
don't
got
know.
off to a good start. Exactly. How they got back in the Premier League is beyond me.
That's
But
beyond
somehow
me.
they found themselves in the conversation and they're here. You know what I mean? They're here, and it's so unfortunate because they've got off to like I think probably the worst start. I could be wrong to any Premier League side, that has come from the bottom to the top or come back for the first time or whatever. But just to give you a quick standings on where they are right now, they're sitting dead last in the table. All right.
That
They've
doesn't
only
make me
scored
feel good, D.
I know I hear you, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
They've only scored 6 goals so far this season, right?
All right.
and they have conceded 22 goals, and the goal difference is sitting at minus 16. Obviously, one of those big results came from, I think, Tottenham and Liverpool, if I'm not
Mm.
mistaken. I think Tottenham smashed them 5 or something, and Liverpool hit a stunner
Oh
there.
yeah, yeah,
Was
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Was it? Yeah, yeah. That's
yeah,
how they got
yeah.
that big goal difference. So it wasn't really like an average over the games they've played, but more so just over two teams that went there and did the business. Now,
Mm.
of course, with that being said, we expect Man United to go there and do the business because these guys have been conceding goals for days. You know what I mean? They're sitting dead last on the table. There's nothing going for them. There's nothing the team offers that poses a threat. But
Yeah.
why does it seem that even with all the odds stacked in our favor, why does it still feel that we can go into this match and absolutely wreck it? You know? And we're going to this fixture holding our breath, and this is even a fixture that we shouldn't even be like, oh, I wonder who's gonna start. I wonder who's injured. I wonder. No, this is one of those fixtures where you just go there and you get the job done. But for some reason, you
Nah.
know,
Hey.
we're still gonna sit here debating like, oh man, if Amrabat does not start, if Bruno's out of position, this is gonna be one of those games. No, this shouldn't be a conversation to be had like that. This shouldn't be one of those. Oh, this is gonna be one of those. No, this literally should be we're going in there and we're getting the 3 points in and out, get the job
Oh,
done, Italian
couldn't
job,
stop
wrap it
laughing
up,
though.
call it a day.
Oh, D, I'm sorry, man. Everything you were saying. I'm sorry for laughing, but I'm sure you understand
Yeah.
why I was
No,
laughing.
I get why you're
No,
laughing. 100%. I get why you're
and our
laughing.
club has they have this bad habit. I call it a bad habit.
Yeah.
This bad habit of just putting us in our place every single time after hyping them. You
Yeah.
know, I
Yeah.
was listening to you like mention all these stats, and my heart is just like, should I stop D from saying these things because we have this hoodoo over us that we
Yeah.
can mention all these stats, and then we go and play Sheffield, this bottom
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
and then all these stats, all these history, they'll make
Mm.
history. They'll score the fastest goal against United. They will do something, and
Yeah.
we will just have a madness. So this is why I was laughing. So I'm
Yeah.
sorry if people were just like, wait, what? Why is Ben laughing? Why? No,
Yeah.
it's because every time somebody mentions stats, whether it's a commentator or somebody passing by regarding United and a less team, we just always jinx ourselves in the most wicked way. And
It doesn't
and
go in our
it's funny
favor.
because I believe we're going to smack Sheffield United. This is a bold statement,
Okay.
you know, but I am terrified. I'm scared. Like I'm
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
scared
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
saying it. You know what I mean?
You don't want to swallow
But
your
yeah,
words.
man, no, carry on, please. Sorry, I had to just get that out.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so let's backtrack a little bit, all right? Because
Yeah,
obviously one of the major issues before this international break, and for a while now, has been injuries at Manchester United.
yeah, yeah,
And we had a little bit of some scares over this international break. Some with some valid, sorry, and some were just, you know what I mean.
yeah.
I don't want to say rumors, but yeah. But whatever the case is, let's start with Casemiro. So Casemiro picked up an injury, and he has been
No.
told to stay in Brazil to nurse that injury, and then he'll come back to Manchester this following week. This following week, we are going to be playing Copenhagen, but if some of you recall, he picked up the red card. So in either case, he won't be able to participate in that match. So which gives him more time, to recover and then come back for our match against Man City next week. And hopefully he can be available for that match because it's going to be
He
an
has
absolute
to be,
screamer.
bro.
Yeah, he has to be. It's non-negotiable. So I can understand on Manchester United side saying, look, um, since you already started nursing your injury that side, continue with it, and then when you're good to travel, come through, and then we're gonna pick up from where you left off in Brazil, and then make sure that you're up to scratch come the Man City match. But yeah, Casemiro. Um,
But D,
do
just
you
just
think? Okay.
all right, just before you ask me that question, but don't you find it weird that he had to stay in Brazil? Why isn't he flying back to United and just getting it done, or is he trusting the medical staff or medical What's the issue? Did
That's the
they
thing with
elaborate on it?
United. You just never know. You just never know what's true and what ain't. There could be a whole other story behind it, but then you know, PR team is there to cover up like what's going on. So to your point, that
Hmm.
probably might be the case. Like he doesn't trust the United's medical team to get him to where he needs to be. So
Oh,
he would rather like start and then finish here. Or it could not even be that. It could be his injury is that severe that he just won't be able to travel. I don't know. And
yeah,
he
yeah,
needs to
yeah,
be cleared, maybe because of the medication and the altitude and all of this nonsense and whatever. You know what I mean? They say you
yeah,
can't take certain medication in the air because da, 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 da.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
So
That makes sense.
you know what I mean? So many variables, but
Yeah,
man, at the end of the day, I really don't know. It's just we just take what we're given. You know what I
yeah,
mean? The report
yeah.
said United said stay. You know what I mean? Come back next week. Why I don't
Mm,
know. So we
mm,
can just assume until the truth comes out. But with that being said, and with what I mentioned earlier, this should be a match that we should be going into with no problems at all. So, do you
yes.
think that Casemiro will be a miss for this match?
No, actually, I don't.
Okay,
Um,
so okay,
yeah, yeah. No, carry on. Sorry.
all right. So, and now I'm going to talk about in terms of injuries. All
All right.
right. So in terms of injuries, do you still believe that he won't be a miss for this match?
Um, I mean, because there's the reports that our boy, our Moroccan, is back. So that is the reason why I'm sort of saying this with my chest.
Yeah,
Unless anything changes, then we have an issue. But again, we've been having this issue about getting players into the team. Our midfield is stacked at the moment. I don't think there's any, apart from the scare of Casemiro and Amrabat, I don't think there's anybody else that is injured or scared
yeah,
or has an injury scare. And we have a lot with Ericsson, with Mount, with Bruno. We have Dan Gore, we have Scott McTominay, we have Van der Beek, uh,
Maino, Kobe
Maino.
Maino,
Maino is still not. Yeah, yeah. But we
yeah,
we 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 have enough
Celeste,
to deal with
yeah,
Sheffield. I should hope. Like
okay,
I am trusting the team that they will be able to handle the business without our Rolls Royce.
yeah,
Because if we're going to struggle with our Rolls Royce, then man, that is also another problem. So
true,
I'm just based on that, like Amrabat being available, and then
yeah,
all the other midfielders that we have. Eric Ten Hag, we know him by now. He likes to chop and change. He likes to put things. So obviously we will have our starting lineup, but then like I said, in respect to the Casemiro situation,
yeah,
him not being there, I think we have enough midfielders to field into that position in his absence. But we need
yeah,
him back. Like I don't want Casemiro. Like I feel even weird and uncomfortable that he's all the way in Brazil. I'd rather
yeah,
him around the team. When you're around the players, man, you might even like heal faster, You
yeah,
see your boy there and you'll be like, hey, then your mind tells you, these things, man, these
yeah,
things, yeah. Then it
yeah.
just that positivity, that good energy might just speed up the process, that kind of thing. These things I know it sounds like but they happen. But yeah, I don't
I
think we'll
get you.
miss him that much
Yeah,
unless there are more injuries that we don't know of right
yeah,
now.
yeah. No, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I agree with you. And of course, Regulon and Amrabat were spotted in training today. So
Mhm.
that's a glimmer of hope. You know what I mean? And I say it like that because man, you can be in training. It doesn't mean you're gonna start the next day game. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
They could just be in training so the managers and the coaches can assess their fitness levels and really see how um, game ready or match ready they are.
Yeah.
So I would say take this with a pinch of salt. Not because that they're back in training, it means that they are going to be starting against Sheffield United.
Exactly.
It's just something that you guys should just be aware of to say there's a possibility. But
It's
so
good
I guess
news.
it's good news. It's good
Yeah.
news. So I
Yeah.
guess the same question I'm gonna pose to you that I posed for Casemiro is, will they be a miss for this game?
For
The Sheffield
Regulon.
Uniteds, yeah, Regulon and Amrabat, if they're not ready to start, does that like change
Ish.
the odds?
Yes, it does. Unfortunately, it does because
Yeah,
okay, Regulon, I'm excited that he's back because now he pushes Amrabat into the middle. That's why I'm excited. But if
yeah,
he's not fit, and if Amrabat is not fit, who goes to the left?
yeah,
Then, like, okay, we have Maguire, we have Evans, we have Lindelof. Cool. He can have a makeshift. That's cool. If Amrabat is missing, who do we have now in the base there for us?
yeah, yeah,
Yes, they've talked about Ericsson. Ericsson has been playing partnership with Casemiro. He does a lot of times we find him in those deep areas. They might deploy him, but is it enough? Does he have the legs? This Sheffield United might look at that and say, they might look at it like a burger,
yeah,
like a nice juicy drumstick they just want to chew on. So
yeah,
in that regard, I don't know because now it's such a short period of time to get players into that uh like for example, you are deploying a right-footed player in a left position. You
yeah,
kind of need to prepare him. You know what I mean? You
yeah,
kind of like need to like get the guy and say, listen, you're going to be playing here because then so now start training there. So I don't know if these guys are not ready. I don't know if they have some contingency plan, like if they have somebody ready who will come in and do the job. I don't know. But
yeah.
those guys are going to be a miss. If we miss Amrabat and Casemiro, that is a big miss for us,
True.
honestly. And
Nah,
you
I
can
hear you.
imagine Amrabat just came in. It's not
Mm,
like we could have done without him. But then what we had when he was not there was pop. We
yeah,
brought him to come and strengthen us. So him not being there is us going back to the old Manchester United,
yeah.
weak in the middle, just leaking goals, like
Oh,
players just
oh,
waltzing through. Our
yeah,
defense now not being protected right and
yeah,
being exposed. All this, it's gonna be a chain reaction. Now, unless
yeah,
our forwards say, you know what, for every this is weird. For every goal these guys score, we'll put two. If they can score goals to
yeah,
cover up the inevitable or potential leakage,
yeah.
then maybe. But
So, you know what, Ness? Speaking of conceding goals, all right,
yeah,
and I know this has been a topic for a minute. It sort of died down a little bit, but I sort of feel it's going to come back into fruition going into this fixture. So, you spoke about conceding goals. So, clearly, you're still not confident in
no,
Onana's ability to stop goals.
not
What does this mean for Onana
I
if he
am.
concedes against Sheffield United? Not only one, but two goals. Let's just say I don't even want to think this far, but unfortunately,
It's capable. Yeah,
he
he's
has made us
capable.
believe that it's very possible of it
Yeah,
happening.
yeah,
So what does this mean for Nana? Him conceding, and I don't want to even go as far as because the only way I can see this softening the blow on him is if we win. We concede but
exactly,
win. But what if we
exactly,
concede and lose? What does that mean for him?
bro. D, my guy. Honestly,
Yeah.
that now what you are the conversation that you are going in, it's almost like, what do they call it, espionage. We are
Mm,
now treading in, because this is us questioning the manager. You know what I mean? But my
yeah.
guy, personally, for me, I've told you, me and Onana, I've already said it. I
Yeah.
don't He can only prove me wrong at this point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't have the time to settle for him. Like him, the way they treated David De Gea has
Yeah.
made me have this attitude towards
Towards
Onana.
Onana.
And,
Yeah.
and I hate it. I hate it because I should be giving Onana a chance. But unfortunately, my guy, nah, like I'm still not convinced with this goalkeeper. Like,
Yeah.
bro, if he concedes goals and we lose,
Yeah.
he needs to be dropped. He needs to be fucking dropped. Now, here's the thing, D. He needs protection. He's like Harry Maguire. Harry
Yeah.
Maguire needed um, a defensive midfielder that's going to be there to protect him.
Yeah.
Onana is like that. He needs a proper defense to at
Yeah.
least soften the blow, like at least reduce
Yeah.
the amount of goals going in. Now with the injury crisis that we face right now, let's just say, like, let's just picture the scenario that we just put right now. Amrabat gone, Casemiro gone, my guy. Now, but wait, let's say Varane is not there. Then we've got Jones, Maguire. Then we've got Scott McTominay because he's the next best thing after Casemiro and Amrabat.
Yeah.
Defense, he's going to fall in there, whether we like it or
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's gonna go in there. Then okay, we put Scott in there. Then what? Then what? We're telling him to protect us. Are we kidding, bro? So it's just going to create a chain reaction. And man, hey man, I don't even want to think about D man. That
No,
question now
you know what, ne? I
throwing
hear
me
you.
back
I hear
again,
you.
bro.
And you know what, ne? The thing is, we've seen Dave pull off unbelievable saves with a crap defense. So I also do get the argument in saying
Exactly,
that I get the
exactly.
but you see, here's the thing, and here's the dilemma is that yes, sometimes some of the goals have been at the fault of the defense, but there have also just been other goals, fam, where just
Bro.
been like, nah,
Exactly.
nah, that you should have saved that one.
Those are the ones I
Useless
don't
defense or
trust,
not. Yeah, yeah,
bro.
yeah. And I
Because
think those are the ones that are
sorry,
being
D.
called into
Eh,
question.
eh, eh, eh. Sorry, because our defense are being decent. They're putting in a
Yes.
decent job
Yeah.
helping him, and then he still
Yeah.
concedes with the
Yeah.
nah. I like what you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
Nah, 100%. But
nah.
yeah, and speaking of, injury scares, going back to our injury scares, segment there. Rasmus Hoyland, of course, had an injury scare, but we understand he's back in training again.
Mm.
We don't know what that means. We haven't got like a full report.
Yeah.
The way they portrayed it over social media was like a bad thing. Obviously he spoke about he still has that back injury problem. He was
Yeah.
rammed into the back with the knee. He was talking about adrenaline. Like he would only know later on. After all of that adrenaline has settled down, like wagwan. But
Mm.
speaking of that, back to Scott McTominay, as you know, you're mentioning him in the defensive position. Do you think with his recent success in the final third, and obviously that free kick that he scored for Scotland in the international break, and the two goals that he bagged for us in the 90th minute to seal a victory against Brentford, do you think that Ten Hag has taken that in to consideration and maybe after this international break reconsider his new role at the club, given the fact that we may not start Rasmus Hoyland, until we probably hear after the press conference tomorrow about his true status. Do you think that Scott McTominay could be an adequate replacement in the meantime if Rasmus Hoyland's not going to be fit to start as the striker? Because remember now, the Rashford conversation this season has been we want him to play on the left. We don't want to see Rashford up front, right?
Mm.
So to keep that same structure,
Mm.
okay, and obviously there's still Martial, but Martial's gonna be in and out. We're treating
We
him
are
like
bubble wrapping him. Yeah.
we're bubble wrapping him. You know what I mean? So do you think that Ten Hag may, and do you think it would be a good idea of giving Scott McTominay a chance to, you know, play our striker?
Hey, Pastor D, what a
Yeah, man.
beautiful question, my dude. Like
Mm,
this question, this question is the one because um unfortunately I don't think he will
yeah.
because Scott McTominay, bro, you- this was a this was juicy.
Because remember, he's got no effect in the midfield. Absolutely no effect. Pointless.
Bro,
but we've seen him at his best, at his peak. We spoke about in the previous episode where we talk about that player positioning. That
Yeah.
striker football intelligence to find yourself in pockets of space where you've got a very good opportunity of finding the back of the net, and he excels very well at doing that. And right now, as we speak, he's
He's the most
currently on
clinical
form.
guy.
He's probably one of the most clinical and on form forwards at Man United right now, and the
He's the,
most fittest, healthiest. This guy is prime. You know what I mean? He's a ripe potato, fam. He's ready to explode. Now, taking all that into consideration, do you think it's fair, or not even fair, but fair? Yes. Do you think it's fair not to consider him in that role, given his current form? Like, do we need to put that form on the bench? You understand? Because putting him in a defensive midfield is not going to help us. He's not effective in that role. It's going to cause a lot of gaps and leakages and whatever. Pointless. Do we need to reconsider him in that first team and as a forward player?
you changed the question towards the end there, but
I did.
yes, listen, bro. Honestly, managers out there, I think it would be criminal if nobody's noticing this. I think it's absolutely criminal that people are not picking up on Scott McTominay's strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am sitting here baffled at why he is still being deployed as a midfielder, somebody to protect a defense. I don't get
Yeah.
it. While his history all points at him being something of an attacking force. He is
Yeah.
an attacker. And bro, you know, Scott McTominay right now is the most clinical player at United. Right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Right now. You put him in his best position, Scott McTominay. And I know that will rub people the wrong way. People will be like, oh. I'm sure even Mark Goldbridge will be upset with that. He'll be like, nah, that's nonsense. But we're
Yeah.
taking away what the player has done and what he does. We're watching him.
Yeah.
He's done his best work for United going forward.
Yeah.
His entire career, like all his goals, all everything Scott McTominay has contributed to United has been in the final third. That can't be a coincidence, D. That
Mm.
can't just be a glitch in the matrix. No, it
Yeah.
is a real thing. The kid has got an eye for the goal. He scores only bangers. He
Mm-hmm.
only scores bangers. You know it. I know it. United fans know it.
Yeah.
He scores the most unlikely goals. It's crazy. Why he's not being used the way we hope and expect him to be used is one of those spooky questions that are asked like a mystery. Like, why? What is it
Yeah.
about Scott that's telling every manager that he can be a defender, he can be a defensive mid? What? His
Yeah.
height? Okay. What about Erling Haaland? Why aren't you guys making him a defender? Why aren't you making him a defensive midfielder? He's tall, he's big, he's strong, he's aggressive. Why not? Why
Yeah.
Scott?
Mm, mm, mm.
Scott deployed anyway from the hour, like in that defensive midfielder going back. It has been nothing but disaster. I
Yeah.
don't think he has ever shown in that position.
Mm.
Why? It's almost like we are sabotaging his career because you'd
Yeah.
be surprised that there's a big team out there that have noticed what he's capable of. Bayern Munich, they wanted him.
Exactly.
Was it him? Was it Scott that they wanted Bayern Munich at some
Scott.
point?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they you see what they want him to be, a
Mm.
Muller, a
Mm.
Thomas Muller. You know what Muller does. You know what I mean, bro? This I know
Ah.
we give Scott a lot of stick, and we give
Yeah.
him rightfully so because he's being played in a position. But I think we now need to start directing this question to the manager. I think we now need to
True.
start blaming the manager. The manager needs to start taking full responsibility. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a Pep Guardiola or if it was a Klopp, if they would have changed. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is just difficult to ignore what
I hear
Scott
you.
McTominay is doing, bro. I
Yeah.
honestly, I can't, and he should be. And as
Yeah.
an alternative for what you said, I would
Mm.
100% endorse it. Just
Yeah.
Scott, let him take those qualities that you so delusionally see him do, let him just
Yeah.
try and exploit them in the final third.
Yeah.
Let him go and exploit them in the final third. Let's see. Let's give him a test drive. Let's see. But
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know if we'll ever do it. So
Mm.
he should be. He should be.
Yeah.
He should be considered at this point.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Mm. Mm.
Honestly.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%, man. I agree with you. I think, like to your point,
And the
it's
only issue,
absolutely criminal.
yeah. And the problem
That
is,
with his. Mm-hmm.
sorry, Bruno, White Mount, Casemiro, all these
Yeah.
attacking options, Anthony, Rashford, he looks like he's surplus to requirement. It's like,
Yeah.
we'll just pick him
True.
where he's suited when we need some defensive duties. But
Yeah. Yeah. No. True, man. Like absolutely criminal that Scott McTominay is not being considered, to
yeah,
be starting in that United 11 with his current form, and I think putting that form on the bench is absolutely a waste. Because to your point, comparing him against the Brunos and the Bats and whatever is a pointless exercise.
exactly.
A pointless exercise because we know that's not his position, that's not his strength. So trying to
He'll
compare
never
him
win.
against those other players,
Hey.
is a very pointless exercise. But I think going out of this international break, going into this weekend's fixture, especially against Sheffield United, there is no reason why Scott McTominay should not be starting in that game and doing the business in an attacking role, mind you, in an attacking role. So we know Casemiro is not going to be ready for that game, but we'll come back to our predicted starting 11. But yeah, Rasmus Højlund, like we said, started the season off obviously with an injury, came and started playing in the games, started making cameos off the bench, and then eventually was integrated into that starting 11. And ever since then, he has been scoring back to back games, getting us those crucial goals that we need to go and win the games. Um, so, yeah, what do you think if he does start in this fixture? How do you think he's going to fare against Sheffield United?
I actually think he'll do good, because when you were mentioning that, especially against Sheffield United, I don't
Yeah,
know. Like this is when you look at Scott, you picture this game. You know what I mean? It's weird. I can't explain
yeah,
it. But I got what you said. I got it. Like I felt it in my bones when you said, especially this game. This
yeah,
team, bro, just needs, like, especially that Sheffield United defense. It just needs somebody who is stubborn, strong,
yeah,
tall,
yeah,
and is just clinical. And
yeah,
Scott McTominay, tick, 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 tick. Now,
yeah,
obviously, we have Rasmus Højlund, like the number 9. The issue here with Scott McTominay is, who do you remove in that front six to
all right,
try and accommodate him? Because he's known to be a midfielder. But then obviously he
yes,
exploits he's what he did in the international duty. It forces him into that equation. So now, who does he remove? And now I threw ball. I kind of like Rivera this ball back to you, my guy.
yeah,
Go.
yeah, 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 yeah. So this is kind of like my fantasy setup for this question. Yeah, I
Yeah.
say Ten Hag goes with the 4-4-2, right?
Mm.
Diamond, given the players that
Mm.
we currently have. And I say Scott McTominay starts up front with Rasmus Højlund, and then right behind them Bruno Fernandes, and then that diamond on the outer wings we've got Rashford, Anthony, and then in the holding we got Sophie and Amrabat, and then the back four I'm not even going to try and
It
figure
is
it
what it
out.
is.
It
Yeah.
is what it is. Whatever we get is what we get. You understand what I mean? Because honestly, as much as I sit here and
Bruh.
debate who I want in that back four, I don't want
Bruh.
any of them. But because we
Bruh.
got injuries, all the ones we don't want are starting. All of them.
I started.
Joe, all of them. Evans,
Uh,
Maguire, we don't want, but they have to
they
because we've
have
got
to.
no options. They
Yeah.
have to. So
Yeah.
that's a pointless exercise getting into that. But yeah, man, my fantasy starting 11 for that team, for specifically that match tomorrow,
Yeah.
4-4-2 diamond, Scott McTominay, Rasmus Højlund up front. Let's get it. That's the way I
Nice.
see it, man. So what
Nice.
about you?
No, I like the
Um,
idea.
if you had to
I
fit Scott McTominay into the team, who do you drop and how does that look like? Or you know what? If not, Anthony starting on the number 7. Mason Mount.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so me, I would go. The problem is that we don't use this system, but I would go for the 3-5-2 and Scott McTominay partnering up with Rasmus Højlund, and then
Yeah.
obviously the defense we will have whoever will be there available.
Wherever.
Uh-huh. And then in the middle, in the like the midfield three, because we are not sure if Amrabat will be back, so we'll just have the standard Bruno, Casemiro, and Mount. They will just
Yeah.
be there. And then in the
Yeah.
wingers, we'll have obviously Dalot, and then on
Yeah.
this other side, we'll have Regulon, and then we go.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
that takes
Yeah.
out a lot of players, but
Yeah.
if we want to now switch it up, we still
Yeah.
have heat coming from the bench
Exactly.
because we can
Exactly.
take out some guys there and then add more vupa in the front there.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
yeah.
This
So
this this game should be a training exercise, man. It should be a training exercise to for Ten Hag to switch things up and say, what if? You know what I mean? You
yeah,
know, what if I
yeah,
bench Rashford and put Scott McTominay and I put two strikers up front? This should
yeah.
be that training exercise match, and it shouldn't flop. And like
But
you said, if it does go wrong somewhere along the line, we
we can
still have the heat coming off the bench to go
yeah.
and get the job done. So I
Mm.
see it as a win-win in either way.
My only issue, D, is that I just don't see how people accepting Scott McTominay as a striker,
Yeah,
or as an attacking midfielder because Bruno and Mount and Eriksen are all ahead of him when it comes into that department. So
I
it's
hear you.
so freaking difficult to put Scott McTominay there. But the
True.
manager has to really
He has to.
have some balls and take a
He has
chance.
to. Eventually, we're just gonna become numb to it. I mean, look where how
Yeah,
they dropped Valencia down to right back. Look how they dropped Ashley Young to left back. We
bruh.
kicked and screamed, and we just
bruh.
had to accept that this is the new reality. You know what I mean? Like, get mad. This is the new reality.
Youngie.
This is how it is moving forward. So with Scott McTominay, we just have to apply that same practice and be like, yeah, he's now a number 9. Deal. Deal with it. That's it.
And the
But
thing
yeah,
is, I believe Scott McTominay will actually reward us. He will repay us for that faith.
yeah,
It's just that it will take time for people to adjust because they'll be like, when he doesn't score, people will be like, but he's not really a striker, he's a midfielder. And then when he's not doing the
yeah,
things, but he started off as a striker. He's got the instincts of a striker.
yeah, yeah.
So McTominay is always going to divide opinion. You know what I mean? It's just
True, true.
ah,
It's just one of those
it's
things.
just one of those, man.
Yeah, man. Now I hear you. Now look, I know obviously we agreed that we're gonna get into match prediction,
Mm.
score prediction, player prediction, but I sort of feel like I think we need to leave it for after the press conference. I
I
don't know
think
how you
it's
feel
better that
about
way.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So I
wanna
think
we
this
need to
will
gauge
this
the gaffer's face. You know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and have like a more realistic outlook on
Idea.
how the starting 11 is going to look. Because right now we're just throwing water in the wind, fam. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Whatever
yeah.
that saying is, you guys know what the saying is, but water in the wind, fam. What
How does
what is
that
the
even
actual
work?
saying? What is it? You throw
Uh
what in the wind?
isn't it
Jeez,
like
man.
throwing a fart in the wind? I don't know. I don't know. But
If I never doubled back, I bet everyone was gonna believe it. Everyone's gonna be like,
they understood what
yeah, they know what I mean. But yeah, I
yeah,
think after, so this will be like the pre, you know what I mean?
yeah, the
The
pre
preview,
yeah.
yeah. And then we'll have the official preview tomorrow after the press conference. So obviously we'll talk about the press conference and then we'll get into the predictions and stuff like that. I think we're really giving you guys the overview on what we think about this match, how it'll turn out, giving you an update on the players. We're gonna have solid updates tomorrow, obviously after the press conference. If the likes of Rasmus Højlund, Regulon, Amrabat, are we going to see them featured back in the team? Maybe we'll even get an update on Sancho.
Mm.
Like I said, we're going to have a very dedicated segment towards. I think this one bench should be the last time we talk about this Sancho thing, eh? It should
Yeah.
be like a 20-minute, 30-minute special that we're going to just give our last thing. We'll detail it as much as possible. We'll sour the internet, scour, not sour, the internet for like what's like the truth,
Yeah.
the most up-to-date update from there, and then we're gonna give our last thoughts on it, and then anything else you want to read up on Sancho afterwards, to
Yeah,
your discretion. We
yeah,
couldn't be
yeah.
bothered afterwards. We
We are
honestly
done
couldn't be
with this.
bothered.
We are
We're
done.
done with it. But
Yeah.
anyway, man, before we close out this episode, any last things that you want to say before we wrap this up?
Nah, not really, man. Not really. This was a nice one. It was a.
Yeah, yeah,
you know, wait, just before you say anything, when you mentioned Yangi, bruh, hey, Ashley
yeah,
Young, you just took me to a place. It's so funny
bro.
how you can mention a player's name and then
Yeah,
he just time travels you to a specific
fam,
moment or a specific time in
dude.
Manchester's time, and then you'd be
Hey,
like, "Rah, that guy used to
yeah,
stress us. He was our
hey,
captain, but as a defender,
man.
my God,
I've never been so stressed out about a player. Like Maguire doesn't even come close.
Maguire,
You know,
who?
you
Maguire, who?
nah, nah.
There was
Like, oh,
Ashley
dude,
Youngie.
he made
They don't
he
know.
was he was a. You know what's so funny was, he was one of those players when he was playing at Aston. Was it Aston Villa? It was Aston Villa, yeah.
Aston Villa,
When
yeah.
he was playing at Aston Villa, I remember I wanted him so bad at United, and then he
Ah,
came through. And then for that first 1 or 2 seasons, he was just doing his thing, fam. I think he was even involved in that game where we smashed Arsenal 8-2, if I'm not
eight.
mistaken.
Yeah, he
You
scored
know,
two.
and he was playing off the wing where Rashford is playing now, and you dip in, you do that Iron Robin thing, but from the left side, fam.
Bro,
He had
he's
this
so.
crazy whip and his
Hey,
speed, and man, dude. And then when that whole transition thing happened,
bro.
my guy, yo, I'm like
Unfortunately, we got
from
better wingers.
hero to zero, my guy. You know what I mean? From hero to villain.
Nah,
Man, that's
because we started hating
ah,
him, bro. We started
exactly.
despising him, and it was not. Bro,
Exactly.
I don't want that.
United. That's how we do. Young, soul shy. Hey
Ah,
man, no one is safe.
no one
No
is
one is
safe.
safe. One day you're a hero, next day we want you out. What next day what you do with pitchforks, my guy. It's deep like that.
Oh,
But
see,
yeah,
speaking of specials, I
yeah.
think we really need to dive into Paul Pogba. I think we need to give people a good one. There was something that
Yeah,
I
we
saw that was
do.
troubling, but anyway,
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, we need to give him his flowers, because it
Yeah,
seems like this is the end of his career. But
this is it.
we'll jump into it, properly, and we'll do the Pugmentary special.
Yeah,
If you guys haven't listened to the Beckham one, please go back and listen to it. It's a brilliant episode.
yeah.
Once again, if you haven't checked out the episode on Netflix, go check it out. The series, I mean, it's a beautiful told story about our legend David Beckham.
One time.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Any last things?
Let's wrap it up, my guy.
All right. So once again, thank you guys for listening to this episode of Glory Reds FC Podcast. You can catch us on your favorite streaming platforms, or on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Caster, Spotify, on our website. Catch us everywhere. We everywhere. Don't forget to visit our website at gloryredsfc.co.uk. You can jump onto our latest blog articles, jump onto our community page where you can join our WhatsApp group, follow us on the social media platforms, and don't forget to join our Premier League Fantasy League. It's a good one. And with that being said, thank you once again for listening to the episode of the Glory Reds podcast, and we'll catch y'all guys in the next one. Peace.